Hello, this video covers the top 3 sites for you to post a job for free, for nada, for nothing. I'll let you know their pros and cons, and I'll let you know which ones were kind of rubbish and which ones kind of worked. So I've just gone through a recruitment process to hire 3 new employees for work at home positions. Now, before I let you know the sites that really worked for me, the sites which I'm intentionally leaving off the list here are Facebook and Google. Neither of them allowed me to actually set the location as work from home. They wanted like an actual kind of physical location, a point in the map. I think it was Facebook that gave me options of different towns that had remote in the title. So I could, say it was remote if I wanted the job to be in a remote town in Ohio, for example. So I did try Facebook. I just put an ad in London because I kind of thought, well, it's London. There's loads of people there, and it's very much congested with people who are looking for work. And for a social media manager ad that I had out, I got very few applicants. And I think, as with anything to do with Facebook, they really want you to chuck money at it. So I really left Facebook and Google to one side. So those sites aside, starting with my third choice of recruitment site for a free job post, it is the Job Centre. Now, I'll start with the negative stuff. It's mostly negative, to be fair. There's a few positives. But my experience of, and this is, guys, this is all my personal experience. Your experience with these recruitment companies might be completely different. I'm just speaking about what's happened to me recently with these recruitment sites. And with the Job Centre, my experience was that it's really a numbers game on their side. And the impression I get is they have quotas that they need to fill in terms of how many people they need to put into employment and how many jobs. And there's a few reasons why I say this. So first of all, I got way more referrals from the Job Centre than people who sent me CVs. And what I can see from the Job Centre is I can see every time that they refer someone to the role, I just get a very generic email from the Job Centre saying, we have referred such and such. And then sometimes a CV comes. Most of the time it doesn't from the actual applicant. So the applicant, I would say 4 times out of 5 doesn't actually move on and apply to the actual position. The majority of applicants that I did get through were just really low skilled. They were really low skilled and they just didn't have the skills that I was looking for. For example, I was trying to fill a social media manager role, and the typical applicant that I would get, well, they just called him Dave. Now, Dave has a Twitter account. Most of the followers on his Twitter account are friends and family. That's fine. He wrote his CV on the back of a beer mat. That's fine as well. Don't really need to see that. Just really need to see the numbers that you've caused in social media. He knows of Instagram, but he thinks TikTok is a special offer in his Chinese restaurant. Now, this type of applicant I got many times through the Job Centre. They also offered me to go into the Job Centre and basically hire someone on the spot. They would line people up, I'm not quite sure, like a police ID parade. They would, I'm assuming that they would put me in the room, kind of like speed dating, right? They just get one applicant in after the other, because who knows? Maybe they just think it's the 80s still. Now, also, again, in my experience, yours might be different. Mistakes were made on the Job Centre side. So, for example, my company was listed down twice on their system. Now, one of these listings of my company had roles that were previously filled. Now, for whatever reason, when a Job Centre work coach types my company in, they get that first listing first. They don't see the second listing that has open roles. So I had numerous conversations with Job Centre work coaches calling me regarding this role, asking, is it still open? Because you've sent us an email saying it's open, but on our system, it's shut. So time and time again, I had to point them in the right direction and let them know how to find a second listing for my company. Secondly, someone in a Job Centre up north, they shall remain nameless, changed the location of the ad from national so that it appeared to all job centres all over the country to just their local area, really just making sure that the Job Centre coaches within that specific job centre had the exclusive chance to put their candidates forward, which I thought was very, very cheeky. If they got an email just as a throwaway comment at the end saying, oh yeah, by the way, we've changed the location. Do you want us to change it back? I replied very quickly, yeah, of course I do. They replied, oh yeah, we'll do it by the end of the day. To which I had to reply to, no, do it now, what are you doing? So that was very, very frustrating. Now, with all of that said, that is a lot of negative stuff, I do know. I did find my current video editor through the job centre, and to be fair, he has turned out to be really fantastic. He didn't have a lot of experience, but he has really been willing to learn. He's been really great. He edited my sitcom pilot, did a really great job at that, and I really do hope that in the future I do get to employ him at some stage for a more permanent role. He's going off to university in September, so yeah, our employment is going to end. There are going to be tears. Overall, job centre, it's on the list because you can find people. It is just a bit of a slog. You do need to put up with some mistakes which are likely to be caused by the people dealing with your ad. If you can wade through that, if you can wade through the applicants, then I'm sure you can find someone. Moving on to my next choice, which is number 2 in the list, which is Indeed. Now, Indeed, I had my biggest challenge with, which you may not face, by the way, mainly because I could only hire someone who was aged between 16 to 24 on universal credit and who had a job centre work coach, because I was hiring people through the government scheme called Kickstart. The Kickstart scheme is funded by the government, and the government have set very strict criteria for employers as to who they can actually hire. So as much as I really wanted to hire someone who was a bit older with a bit more experience, I just couldn't. I wouldn't be eligible for the scheme if I tried to do that. It just wouldn't work. Now, the problem that I faced with Indeed was the whole problem of age discrimination, which I get, is a thing. It's a pretty bad thing which exists out there. But what I couldn't do with Indeed, which I didn't have this problem with the job centre, because obviously they had the age on there because the Kickstart scheme is government and the job centre is government. It's all tied in together. I couldn't put an age criteria on the ad for Indeed. So I had dozens and dozens of applicants coming through to me. And at first I was like individually checking CVs to see if I can actually work out their date of birth. And then I would send a message saying, oh, are you on universal credit? Do you have a job centre work coach? But that actually proved to be quite long-winded. So what I actually ended up doing was I just got a template message that I just quite literally sent to every applicant who, vaguely looked like they had some kind of social media manager experience or experience for one of the other roles that I was hiring. And then anyone who basically replied and said, yeah, we got that experience, and we've also, we're also eligible, we're also in the age bracket, we're on universal credit, blah, blah, blah. I could then actually go into their CV and have a look at it. So it was very frustrating. It was very long-winded. And again, if you're not hiring through the Kickstart scheme, you're unlikely to face this type of problem. But on a positive note, Indeed's reach for a free ad was amazing. Like, I put an ad on about 2 weeks ago. I'm still getting new applicants coming through for those ads. I've had 30 plus, maybe even 50 plus applicants on most of the ads that I've put live on Indeed. Now, in part, that is probably down to me not being able to actually set criteria for the age in relation to the Kickstart scheme and all of that. But moving that to one side for a second, for a free ad, that is pretty good. And what I basically did with a couple of roles was that once the applicants started to die down, and once I got fewer applicants coming through, fewer CVs, I just cancelled the ad and I reposted it. And I just got a whole bunch of new ads coming through to me. I just recycled the role every couple of weeks. And, it worked. And I'm about to hire my first candidate through Indeed. And moving on to the number 1 site on my list for you to post a free job ad. It is, drumroll please, LinkedIn. Yep. And I got the most professional applicants through LinkedIn out of all the platforms. It has a great reach, it has a better filtration system than Southern Water, and I've hired 2 employees by using it. It has overall been absolutely fantastic. And I think the only downside is that you are limited with LinkedIn to 1 free ad only. If you do want to have 2 ads running simultaneously, you do have to pay for the second one. I think the other problem that I ran into was when I tried to put a little bit of money, just a little bit of money, behind my social media ad, which was on LinkedIn. And I got quite a few applicants through at this stage. And I just kind of thought, oh yeah, LinkedIn's working really well. The quality of applicants is really good. So let's just chuck a tenner behind it. Let's just see what happens. And I really thought it would do something, but it didn't. That £10 was gone within about 15 minutes. You can see on your account how much of that spend is being spent at any given time. And I think it was within. I think I promoted the ad. Within about 3 minutes, I refreshed the page. About £2.50 had already been spent. I kind of thought, well, that's weird. That's odd. Okay, I'll strap in. I'll see it through. It's only a tenner. And then, yeah, within like another 10 minutes, it was gone. It was gone, and I had no further applicants as a result. I think the reason why that money went so quick is that LinkedIn give you no targeting options. So I had no idea if my ad was being shown to people in the UK or if it was being shown to sheep farmers in Brisbane. And I've got nothing against sheep farmers in Brisbane. I'm sure they're all lovely and they're fantastic, and probably some of them would be really fantastic social media managers. But unfortunately, again, under the Kickstart scheme, they just wouldn't be eligible for this role. Now, what LinkedIn did allow me to do, it did allow me to actually state the criteria of people that I'm looking for in relation to the Kickstart scheme. So with my ad, the first paragraph reads something like, you need to be aged between 16 and 24, on universal credit, have a job-centered work coach. This is a Kickstart scheme placement. And Indeed did not let me do that. So I think for that reason, it really saved me a lot of time to actually get through applicants who were eligible for the role. To date, I've hired 2 people through LinkedIn, and I'm sure there will be many more in the future as well. So guys, I really hope you found this video useful. Please do smash that like button, leave me a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.